Ready for what feels.
Let me turn it up for you guys. Hope you can hear it.
And battered and bruised Eddie Gutknecht now comes to the referee.
Referee Terry O'Connor has our boxers. He has asked me to ask you to join him congratulating both boxers on 12 rounds of championship boxing.
Okay, we're waiting for the scorecards.
Judge Michael Alexander sees this contest a 119-110. Both judges, one to Burn and one Reyes, a 119-109. All in favor of the winner. He is still the WB International.
Okay, so before George Groves starts to talk, right now it's November the 18th, 2016, approximately 6:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Bear with me a little bit. I'm not going to give you the lore or the backstory right now on my crazy week. But basically, listen. I just wish that George Groves would just let go. All right? Me and George Groves have a history. We all know what happened to him in Colfrach in Wembley. We all know what happened to him, what was that, 6 months prior? Yeah, about 6 months prior. And I'm a huge Colfrach fan. So if I was a George Groves fan, like I was a Colfrach fan at the time, and I am a George Groves fan, I cover all of his fights, I would have gave Colfrach the same treatment. But what happened was, I did a video on George Groves where it kind of went viral. At that point in time, I was at my high point on YouTube. The video did some old crazy amount of views. I wasn't on Twitter at the time. I wasn't on Instagram at the time. I didn't have a Facebook like page. And somehow George Groves saw the video and he blocked me on Twitter. So it's like, what the fuck, bro? But still, I support the man. He is now on his way to a WBA title at 168 pounds. He failed on the WBC path when he fought Badou Jack. He failed on the IBF path with Colfrach. And now he's going after the WBA. Tonight, he beat a fighter by the name of Eduard Gutknecht. I can say he's a quality fighter. You know, almost not quality. He's a good, solid name. For example, he had 2 fights with Jürgen Bremer at 175, former WBA world champion at 175 pounds. He lost them both. He had a fight with, why is this still going? He had a fight with Robert Stieglitz. Lost that fight. And most notable win of his career is during the amateurs, he had a career win over Gennady Golovkin. So that's the selling point of this fight right here. I'm interested to see what George Groves has to say. And I'm sorry that this video may be a little short because just so happens at this very time, while we're waiting for George Groves to give his post-fight interview, Andre Ward and Kovalev are stepping on the scales. I just want George Groves to bury the hatchet, man. Unblock me from Twitter. Stop being a ginger wanker twat. All right? Stop wanking your twat. All right? Anyway, George Groves is good. Of course, George Groves has some things he needs to work on. I feel that when it came to the Badou Jack fight, Badou Jack won, but George Groves let it go. You know, he didn't turn it up. He didn't go to that next level. And it's crazy because he was on a Mayweather undercard. You know, this guy was the co-feature to a Mayweather fight. George Groves is, you know, he's had a pretty solid career. It's time. If he doesn't, why does he keep doing this? If he doesn't, oh man, I gotta see him step on the scales. Okay, listen, so what we're gonna do is later on tonight, we're gonna do an in-depth post-fight video on George Groves during my live stream of Kovalev versus Ward fight. And I'm sorry, we can't listen to the post-fight interview of George Groves at the moment. Unless he starts to talk soon. Because right now, we're just waiting. Let me turn this shit down. Right now, I'm trying to do double duty. And my lungs are on fire. But it's what has to be done. Who is it? Who is it? Hold on, guys. Give me 1 minute. I'm hearing shit. So, let's go look at the rankings really quickly. WBA. Let's go look at the rankings and see where George Groves lies in these rankings. News. By the way, all the links to my social media are right down below in the description box. Follow me on Instagram. It's popping. It's lit. You'll be able to get news, highlights, and of course some humor. Okay, so we're looking at the 168-pound rankings. George Groves is currently ranked number 4 behind Anthony Durrell, Avani Yerdrum, Caleb Smith, and of course Badu Jack is the champion. As you know, Badu Jack is taking on James DeGale January the 14th here in the States in Brooklyn. I am going to be at that fight. It's a unification for the WBC and the IBF. Then the winner of that has to fight Caleb Smith. You have George Groves, who is ranked number 3 by the WBA, who is going to be going after that, who is going to be going after, if I'm correct, Fedor Chudinov for that WBA title. And then you have WBO champion Gilberto Ramirez. So the the 168-pound the division is pretty stacked. When you even look at the names like, who failed the drug test, he's suspended right now. We look at names like Lucien Bute, Arthur Abraham, even Bad Medina. You can count Rocky Felding, David Benavidez, who was brother of Jose Benavidez, who got shot, by the way. Hope he's all right. I said the Durrell brothers already. You got you got Jesse Hart. You got some pretty good names in the 168-pound. Oh, let's listen to him. He's talking. Wait.
He was a bit wild with the head at times, and he was going to hold, and all that came out in the fight. But I feel I set a great tempo. I got into my rhythm, and I busted out pretty bad. I'm surprised he made it to the final bell.
Well, he's very tough. Energy Eddie, he certainly lived up to his name. He was tough. Steve, what was your assessment this evening?
It was an absolute masterclass performance, and what I said to George earlier, middleweights don't come into their prime and don't peak to the late 20s, early 30s. The next 5 years of his career is when he's going to peak, be at his best, both mentally and physically. But it did all go to plan, Shane. I mean, you planned a great fight tonight, he fought a great fight. What's next?
Yeah, I think I was incredibly impressed with George tonight. His punch selection was amazing, and I think that was a perfect fight for set up the Fedor Chudinov fight for the world title. It's vacant at the moment. Chudinov's in line, and I think George is the guy to beat him and win that world title.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. Let's just have a look at some of the highlights, though, of the fight and get us for you to talk us through it, George.
Yeah, well, let's say we tried to get the jab landing early and varying the power with it. Not every jab was supposed to.
George Groves has always had a good jab. He's always had a good jab. Sometimes he keeps that other hand down a little too low. And as you've seen, what Carl Froch did, Carl Froch made him pay. And he's got a nice overhand right because it goes right over the guard, it seems. But, if he doesn't win on this title path, then it's hard to say that George Groves is going to be a world champion. Look how many chances he's had. I would love to see George Groves versus the winner of Badu Jack, James DeGale, Caleb Smith. I would love to see that. In fact, didn't he turn down the Caleb Smith fight? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just saying, I thought I heard that he may have turned down that Caleb Smith fight. And, I can understand because he has his targets on world championship. Remember, if I'm correct, didn't he try to stop James DeGale versus Badu Jack? Didn't he go to the WBC after he lost to Badu Jack and tried to stop it? Or did he try to stop Caleb Smith from being the number 1 contender? So George Groves will go through anything, to make sure that you don't get no title before him.
I just want to ask you, what have you worked on? What sort of fighter did you have a year ago? What sort of fighter is he now? Because of the things you particularly notice and you've worked upon.
Well, you know, it's making him aware of what his strengths are. You know, George has always been a heavy-handed guy. His distance control is fantastic, and adding a couple of little touches on, you know, when he misses with the shot, he can extend that same hand, and you know, and don't let guys crowd him, and just being calm. You know, not always looking for the heavy, hard shots. You know, being patient. You know, these guys. He sets such good traps, you know, just let them walk onto it and be very selective of your punches, and you know, I think he's improving, as I said, every day. You know, it's our 4th fight together, and I'm really excited about the few years coming next.
Did you see all that this evening, Steve?
Well, I saw a very mature performance from George tonight. You know, when he was coming forward all the time, he got George on ropes. George landed a good shot, spun out to the side. It was a textbook performance. Everything he done was, you know, he boxed way above what you need to fight to win tonight, and it was a terrific performance. My question is, who would your preference be?
Let's get on with it.
For a title fight, who would your preference be? It's wide open now for you.
You know, I just want that world title fight first and foremost. I've got to be honest with you. Anyone will do, and I genuinely believe that I'll give any of them a fight. The truth be told, I think I'll beat them all. And you know, ideally, I'd love a rematch with Badou Jack. You know, it was a tight decision the first time I lost. I feel working now with Shane, I'll do a proper number on him. That being said, he's fighting my old pal James DeGale. I'd love that fight too. But in the meantime, them two are busy. They're fighting, you know, in the new year. And if I can pick up a belt in the new year, as I say, Shane mentions Chudinov for the vacant WBA, that would be ideal. And it set up some huge nights here on our shores in the super middleweight scene.
There could be some unification fights coming up in 2017. Who knows? Well done, George. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much indeed. Okay, terrific stuff from George Groves. Right, still to come. A really impressive up-and-coming fighter for you.
I mean, you know, truth be told, the sky is the limit for George Groves, because he didn't lose bad to Badou Jack. And if you think about it, like, if he just turned it up a little bit more, he could have been the WBC champion. And remember, he has that controversial win over James DeGale, even though James DeGale is a better fighter than he was before. So George Groves can be a unified champion at 168 pounds. He can be. You know, but will he is the question. I am TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live, and of course I cover every single George Groves fight. And I just want him to understand, when I first started covering George Groves' fight, I didn't take boxing seriously. But now, it's inevitable that I'm going to meet George Groves one day. And I wonder what he's going to say. And I'm going to be humble. I'm going to say, George, man, come on, man. It was so long ago, bro. It was so long ago. All you got to do is click the button. Unblock. It's just like that. Just that easy. Just unblock. Block. It's easy. It's easy. I support George Groves. Team Groves, unless he fights Carl Froch again, and I'm sorry. You know? If that fight was ever, I know it's not going to happen again, but if it ever happened again, then it's like, you know, you talking all that shit, you know, and it's going to be a little bit more push and pull for you, bro. You know? Got to ride for my homies. I'll say it again. If I was a George Groves fan and not a Carl Froch fan, I would have been riding for George Groves. I would have been talking all kind of shit about the Cobra. But, you know, you got Cobra, bro. Let it go. Let it go. Please subscribe.